glass slugs. He's shooting out of this thing at 15 to 18 feet away. He fires the first one, and at this point my ears are ringing because he's right next to me. We're in somewhat of an enclosed vehicle, but I got the spotlight on this creature still, and I see this first bullet in his chest. It rips the whole right side pectoral muscle almost off of this thing.
Fuck
I can
yeah.
see it rip the skin. I can see the blood. This thing is real. It is a creature. It does bleed. I can see that the whole right pectoral muscle was completely almost torn off of its body. Pieces were hanging down. And this thing lets out a scream, and at that point, he had fired 2 more shots right away afterwards, but this thing was fast, Vic. This thing was real fast. So the 3 shots in a row, after the first bullet hits his chest and rips the skin and the pectoral muscle, this thing jumped, okay? No exaggeration. This thing jumped clear 15 feet up into the tree, okay, and almost 30 feet across the dirt road into the other side of the woods. As it goes across, okay, I can see from what little moonlight that we have. Now, the buggy lights are on in the front, but I didn't move my spotlight with the creature because he did it so fast. But as it jumps across the way here right in front of us, I can get a good look at this thing all the way compared to other things around it now, and I see that this is a dog head with a bodybuilder's chest, arms. I mean, this thing is huge. It's 8 or 9 foot plus. Now that I can compare it to the things around it, I couldn't believe it. It looked pretend. It looked like I can't even explain it. I'm so terrified at this point. I didn't know what to do, but the shotgun and him jumping completely broke me out of this trance that I was in of being a complete fool and sitting there not knowing what to do next. So I start the buggy up. I crank the wheels all the way to the left. The back tires are spinning, throwing dirt behind me. This thing is to the floor. I get it spun right around, and I'm headed to the road. And I'm screaming, Gene, what the hell was that? And he's screaming, my gun's jammed, my gun's jammed. And I'm looking over at the shotgun, and I'm looking forward, looking over at the shotgun, looking forward, and I'm screaming at him to hurry up, get it loaded, get it loaded. I don't know where this thing is. I don't know when it's coming back. I'm trying to reach down for my pistol, and I'm reaching, but it's bouncing around on the floor somewhere because the dirt road's got little stones in it, and it's bumps, and the water knocked out of a bunch of the dirt, so there's divots everywhere. There's mud holes that you get down into there, and we're 2 miles. We're 2 miles into the woods now, and it's dark. There's nothing else around us. We are, in my perspective, we're a long way from home. And the gun that he has next to him is jammed. And I'm not sure what our next move is. The only thing I could do is keep my foot on that gas. I see Gene look up. And he looks by me. Man. I look to the left side where he's looking out my window on the driver's side, and I'm doing about 50 at this point, Vic. I look out the left-hand side next to us, about 2 foot next to me. I see this creature. It's running right next to us. This thing is on 2 legs, running directly next to us, on its back haunches like a dog. Its arms are hanging in front of it like it's going to tackle something, like it's about to fall. But it's got its arms in front of us hanging down, and it's running next to me. I can hear its feet hit the ground, even with this vehicle that we're in, to the floor. I can hear it boom, 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 just taking big strides right next to us. And it's got its head down a little ways. Now, this buggy is about 5.5 foot tall. This thing is hunched over, almost leaning forward like it's going to fall. But it wasn't. I could see now all the little teeny creases of its muscles that are in its body, on its body. I could see the hairs were blackish gray, and they were thin enough to be able to see that it didn't have skin underneath. And this thing was so ripped. I see its abs contracting and getting loose again as it breathes running next to me. I can see its muscles get tight in its legs because they're right where my face is. look out and look back, and I am completely terrified at this point. I can't even make a sound. I can't scream or even, I can't get any words out. I can't believe that this thing's running next to us at a full sprint. I mean, I don't personally know if it was at a full sprint, but I had this thing to the floor and it was standing right next to us. Leaning down, looking into the window, I see its eyes. And again, they're these amber-colored looking eyes. And I was more terrified than I could ever dream of in my life. And I'm trying to get this thing moving as quick as possible. Gene's staring at this thing. All the color drained right out of his face. I'm sure mine did as well. And I'm just looking forward, looking over. I'm hoping that he loads this thing up. I've got one arm up the steering wheel and one hand down, and I'm trying to find what's going on. And I crank the wheel to the right to try to move further away from this thing. This thing puts its arm out. Now I can see its hand, clear daylight, so to speak, with the front two lights of the buggy shining straight on this thing. Its hand is massive. It has 5 fingers and these black, long, sharp nails. It's got its hand, puts it right on the driver's side light, and I feel the buggy starting to slow down. And I'm thinking to myself, no way.
This is our hold-up displays, black camo gun wall. It is actually 3 sections here. You got
no way. This thing had the intelligence to put its hand in front of the vehicle, put it on the vehicle I was in, and put its hand on the light. And I remember looking forward, and I could see the light completely cut off the whole left side of the trail, because the only thing that we've got for light right now is the 2 front lights pointing forward, and it is dark as out. So I see this hand in front of me holding his back. I feel the buggy slowing down, and I look back over at him, and as I can see it, he's looking in, and I see his teeth. They are so sharp. Unlike a dog's that would be rounded at the end, these are sharp. And I'm talking serious sharp. I can hear them. He's chomping down repetitively. Boom, 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 boom. And I can see that every time he chomps down, I can hear it next to me. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm looking over at him, looking forward, looking over, looking forward. He's got his hand on the front. This vehicle's slowing down. I got it all the way to the floor. I could feel the vehicle slow, and I could hear the weight and the strain on the motor as I'm trying to push forward. This thing's maybe 150 horsepower. It's not much, but I can feel it slowing down, and I'm getting real scared now. And I see this thing, and this sounds insane. This creature, as it's looking inside of the vehicle, with its hand on my vehicle, both of us are in there, slowing down. I thought, this is it. We're done. It smiles. Its lips curl up on the side, and it smiles. And I am just in complete fear, shook to my core. I have absolutely no clue what to do. I felt like it had taken everything from me that I've ever known to be good and true, and it had completely smashed it to the ground. This thing's aura, its whole demeanor, it was just the most evil thing I've ever felt in my life. It projected this level of being emotionally distraught and just completely terrified, worse than if it was the end of the world or you'd lost your entire family or anything. It was, I don't understand how it was able to make me feel that way, but it was beyond fright. It was beyond being terrified. It completely drained my soul. This thing was beyond evil. And I see this smile, and I mean, at this point, there's nothing I'm not going to believe, because I'm where I am right now. Everything starts flashing through my head. This is the end of my life. I have memories that I want to create with my family. What about the last person that I argued with? I didn't get to even apologize to them. I don't want to end like this. I have goals that I want to achieve. I want to try to be the best version of myself. I have character flaws, as everyone else does, but I I need to work on. I have things that I regret, that I wish I would have done differently, experiences that I wish I would have taken advantage of, and I'm thinking to myself, my whole life is literally flashing in my head, boom, 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 different things, and when they say your life flashes before your eyes, it really does, and I wasn't able to even do anything. It's just, I'm looking forward, trying to drive, looking at this creature, and I didn't know what else I was supposed to do. I'm thinking about my baby girl, and thinking about my wife, and what's going to happen? How are they going to find me? How are they going to provide? My daughter and my wife have to grow up without anybody around. What's the story that's going to be told? Accident in the woods? Vehicle accident? I know it's not going to say huge freaking wolf man attacks guys in woods. We both know it's not going to say that. So I'm racking my brain here, and I am completely distraught. And all of a sudden, I hear boom, and at the same time, I see Gene has the shotgun pointed in front of my face. Now, we're sitting side by side going forward towards the road in the woods. He reaches to his left, points the gun. The barrel's directly in front of me, but I'm looking forward, so it's about to shoot to the left where this creature is. And as soon as he pulled it up, I see this thing disappear out from next to me. And he still fires, but he had missed it. My ears are ringing. I see this thing, he's gone. How does this creature have the intelligence to be able to completely stop? That it saw that that gun was pulled up. It knows what it did to it. I could see it ripped up, its chest ripped up again when it was running next to us. It knows what the consequences are from the end of that barrel. Because just prior, it had felt that. It knows. And when that firearm got held up, this thing let go of the front of the vehicle. I felt the strain and the load be taken off the motor. We speed back up, and this thing's gone. And I'm like, wow, how did it realize that that's what was going on? Now, I don't know how much time had gone by. It felt like about 2 hours. So now, as we're getting down the road, I'm thinking to myself, this thing just smirked at me like an almost taunting type of deal. It was about to stop our buggy completely. It reaches out with hands with claws. I mean, what is all this? I'm out of control trying to think of everything, but I'm glad that it's not next to me anymore. But I'm still terrified because I have no clue where this thing is. I hear it now crashing into the wood next to us again. The same sound I heard as we were coming in. And this thing had just boom, 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 blasted through all these woods next to us, through branches, through everything. I just like, okay, next time he comes in, we're going to get hit, and we're going to get hit hard. And all I could do is keep it to the floor. But it stays in the woods over there for the next maybe 12 seconds. It didn't come back out yet. And I'm like, dude, we're not going to make it to the road. And all I'm saying to Gene is, when that thing comes back out, hit it again, hit it again, hit it again. He's got his gun out the window, aiming it out there. I'm driving forward, and we hit the road. It seemed like it was forever, but we finally hit the road. I didn't slow down. I hit that road, I cranked the wheel all the way to the right. The back tires slid off the gravel and onto the road. Tires are squealing. And then I see it. It tried to flank us. It tried to jump out right there at the edge of the woods and cut us off. Or so I thought that's what it tried to do. But I did the turning, I slid. We lost the beat sliding onto the road, but I still got it to the floor. Gene, I can feel him lean over onto me because of the G-force from turning it at 40 miles an hour, skidding onto the road. This thing jumps clear, another 20, 25 foot out of the woods onto the side of the road where the ditch is, and now it's behind us. And we're going down the road, and Gene's got the gun pointed back to it, and he's not shooting anymore though. And as soon as he gets the gun pointed, and when we straighten the vehicle out, he's got the firearm pointed down back behind us where this thing's standing. And it kind of leans down a little bit, and I see it go back down on all fours. And it's sitting there, it lets out this huge roar again. The same noise that I had heard numerous times with my wife earlier, when we were in the woods, and when I was by myself coming home prior to Gene guy going out in the woods when I had just walked in the house before my wife showed me the scratch. And all the cows went crazy. So we're getting down the road. Now this thing, he sees the gun get pointed back out, goes down on all fours, and then launches back over into the woods, another 20, 25 foot. And now I can't see him because it's as dark as it is. I can still see the silhouette from down there, though. So it launches back into the woods. We get back to the house. I pull in, I stop, and we sit in the vehicle for a second. I have the garage door opener in the buggy, and I pull it into the garage door, and I'm staring behind me. And now I reach down, I grab my pistol, which is a .357 Magnum. It's a 5-shot revolver. It wouldn't have done anything to this creature. It got shot clear 18 feet away with a high brass slug from 12 gauge. And it just ripped its chest open. This thing didn't even care. It just pissed it off.
1 second, you're worrying about your home. And then, thanks to ADT, there's a lot less to worry about. Feel secure enough to let others in with a trusted neighbor from ADT.
It's remarkable to think that a baby boy born in a stable, no prestige or privilege, no social media or social status, political campaigns or private airplanes, and yet he put the world on his head. He turned BC into AD. He's the most famous name around the globe, inspired the most read book ever written. He reconnected us to heaven, and in turn brought heaven down to earth. And now he offers us redemption, a fresh start, freedom, so that we can hold our heads high and march through this life knowing that we're never alone, that every woman and man, every girl and boy, to all of us.
Its chest open. This thing didn't even care. It just pissed it off. So I've got my pistol, my hand's shaking, and I've got this thing pointed out in the back. And I see Gene's got the shotgun on his side pointed out towards the back. And we watch the garage door slowly close, and I'm waiting to see this thing's feet just show up and rip the door off. And the spot between where the door closes and the concrete gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't see it yet, I don't see it yet. And we sit there, finally closes all the way. Now I'm thinking I've got to get inside, my family's inside. So we shut the buggy off, I open the door, I look outside, I don't see it, I don't hear it. So we get going back in, and I get inside, and I'm looking at Gene, we're not saying anything at first. And I pop the door open, and I said, hey, I said, we're back. And I didn't know what else to say. I didn't want to say anything running inside the house like a crazy lunatic trying to explain that we were just attacked by a werewolf. That my wife's going to tell me to stop drinking. You're an idiot. I wasn't able to even explain anything, and nor did I want to, because I'm going to put the fear in my family. 2 girls in the house? No, I can't do that. But I did want to check to see where they were. And they were in the living room, and I said, can you go upstairs for a minute? I want to come up and talk to you. Grab Gianna and go up there. I have something that I want to discuss with you, but I want you to go up there real quick. And I'll be up in a minute. And I close the door. I come back out into the woodroom, and I'm sitting back there. I look at Gene, and I said, dude, what the was that thing? And he said, Brandon, I don't know. That's not supposed to be real. I said, that was a werewolf. And he said, I've never seen anything like that in my life. And he's the one that had said it looked like the werewolf from Van Helsing. And that's when it clicked in my head. And immediately I was like, yeah, you're right, it did. That's the only thing that I could compare it to that I've ever seen. And it's only been in a movie. So how is this thing over here? I've never seen this thing before. I've been in the woods since I've been old enough to squeeze the trigger. I've never seen anything like this. Now my heartbeat's slowing down. I'm kind of gaining some type of sanity back. I'm trying to think about what this thing could have been, and nothing other than, a stereotypical werewolf from a movie. So now I'm in fear that this thing's going to come into my house because it's got my scent. It's pissed. Gene blew its whole right pectoral muscle clean off its body. It's bleeding. It's mad. I don't know what's supposed to happen next. I'm trying to think, did we piss it off? I do remember had just seen, and I didn't really know what else to say to Gene. All I said was, please don't say anything, after we had discussed what had happened in details of the thing, so we could both kind of recap on what it was that we saw. I kind of said, please don't say anything to Carissa, please don't say anything yet, so we can figure out what's going on here. And I said, I'm going to go inside, and he said, I need to get back to my house right now. And I said, okay, I understand, please give me a call when you get home. And we only talked for about 15 minutes, just going over what we had seen. It was a very difficult conversation because it's not supposed to be real, and we both just were completely stunned that this creature was physically standing in front of us and it had done what it had done. And the level of intelligence of this thing was beyond any creature that I've ever seen. I mean, this was smarter than some humans that I associate with. It was intense. So I said, please call me when you get home. Well, I know that you made it home. I need to go inside and figure out what I'm going to do. And I said, please, again, please don't say anything to my wife. And he said, I won't if you help. So I said, okay. I said, let's meet up tomorrow. Call me when you get home. So he leaves. He calls, says I made it home. He's only about 2.5, 3 miles up the street. He gets home okay, no issues. I go upstairs and she goes, so what was that? And I didn't want to tell her at first, which I have since then. I said, this is coyote issue out there, some type of dog thing. And I didn't want to lie to her, but I didn't want to put the fear of God in her as I was feeling. I would never want anybody that I care about to feel the way I was feeling. No way. It took the trust away that I had from going into the woods. I don't want anybody else to lose that love they have for being able to enjoy the outdoors. That's a terrible thing. So I said to her, it was an issue with some dogs. She goes, what do you mean? What kind of dog? Coyotes? And I said, yeah, something like that. And I didn't sleep that night. I didn't say much to my wife. But as I get up the next day, kind of get things back together, I said, I finally sat down with her and I told her, she goes, what's going on with you? You're not sleeping, you're not paying attention to things, you're not doing the things that you normally do, and you haven't, gone to work today. I told her I didn't feel good in the morning. I didn't go to work. I hadn't slept anything. I said, I'm not going to work today. I'm calling in. I don't feel right. And I wasn't excited to get up and help cook, and I wasn't playing around, tinkering around with stuff, going to get the firewood, loading up in the wood stove, or anything like that. I mean, I spent most of the summer cutting wood and firewood to keep my family warm. And I'm excited to be able to say that I'm the one that had done that work to be able to keep the family warm. I like to be that type of man. I like to be able to do the work, see the difference I've made, fixing the house, doing anything, electrical, windows, siding, painting, even any type of remodeling stuff. I like to know that I did that. I fixed this for my family. I kept my family warm and did this. I fed my family with the squirrel or the rabbit or the deer or whatever it may be, or the fish that I caught, anything. So I wasn't even doing any of that. That's my ritual, to get up and throw wood in the wood stove. And she said, something's going on with you. You need to tell me the truth. What did you see in those woods the other night? And I said, okay, you're not going to believe this. And I sat down and I went through what I had told her, just as I had told you. And it scared her. I left out some details, that's for sure. But I explained to her what it was, and I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't want you going outside. I don't know what to do yet. And she said, you need to call the police. And I said, honey, the police aren't going to do anything. They're going to look at me like I'm an idiot. They're going to tell me to lay off the weed or something. They're going to tell me to lay off the drinks. I don't know what they're going to say. So finally, a little more time went by, and I thought, you know what, I am going to call the police. I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to let them know I've got something in the woods, some type of rabid dog. I think that's what I'll go with, I said. So I call him up, and I say, this is what's going on, to at least get him to come out. So the Hugo County Sheriff shows up. It's a small town, so I know him personally. He shows up, I explain to him, this is what's going on. He comes over with a couple DEC officers. They pull in the driveway. I say, hey, how you doing? He goes, not much, Brandon. Like I said, small town, first name basis. He said, what exactly is going on? And I said, can I talk to you privately for a minute, please? And he said, of course. And told these guys who I've never met or seen before, hang out there for a minute. And I pulled him aside and I said, listen, I had an incident with Gino the other night. And I sat down and explained to him, and I said, what I'm about to tell you, you got to promise me that you actually look into it and you believe me. And my reputation of I'm not a big drinker. I stay away from any of that type of stuff, really. I don't mind a few beers once in a while. Nothing wrong with that. But I like to stay in control. I like to know what's going on around me. And I've built my reputation on being able to be heard and understood and believed. And this was just completely out of character for me to be able to explain. But I did. And as I'm explaining to him what it was, he believed everything, and he was straightforward with me, and I was straightforward with him. And everything was fine up until the point when I started explaining what this creature looked like. And I saw the blood drain out of his face, just like I did Gene's that night when we shot the spotlight on him. And as he's writing notes about what it is that took place, he stopped. And he went from comfortable to uncomfortable. And I mean real quick, Nick. He closed his little book, and he looked at me and he said, are you sure that's what you saw? And I said, I'm 100% positive. And he goes, all right, sit tight. And he goes back to his vehicle, and he makes a phone call, and he comes back and he says, I think we can have this dealt with. He said, I'm going to come back tomorrow, and we'll do something a little bit further on this. And I said, what's going to happen? You know, how are we going to deal with this? And he said, I'm not sure. And it looked like he had known what it was that was going on, because he obviously was familiar with a scenario that's similar to this. He called somebody. You know, I could see the look in his face. He was terrified as well. Maybe he was reliving the situation that he got into, an encounter he got into. I don't know. I can only speculate on what was going through his head, but I knew that he was familiar with what it was that I had spoke to him. So he makes the phone call. Fast forward to the next day here, nothing else happened that night. I don't hear any more screams, nothing. Now, we get to the next day here, and the sheriff pops back over. Now, he's got this van or big enclosed truck thing with him, all black, and he's got this guy with him. He pulls in front, the other vehicle, this big bulky looking thing pulls in behind him, and I see him on the cameras, because I got cameras all around the house. And when you pull in the driveway, it's got sensors on each side so that you can hear the ding inside the house and know that someone's pulling in the driveway. And I see the cameras, I see these vehicles, and I'm like, okay, they're here back again to deal with this incident. I'm like, perfect. I said, I'll be back in, honey, I'm going to go handle this. So I go out, he comes out and says, hey, this is so-and-so. I don't even remember at the time. I was just completely distraught because his outfit looked like some type of military uniform or some type of military unit. But I'd never seen any of the badges out there. There wasn't any lighting. It was just this weird symbol of a badge on there. It wasn't anything that I was familiar with. And I shook his hand and he said, you're Brandon? I said, yeah. And he goes, run by me again exactly what had happened. So I took a couple minutes and I explained to him in general what it was that was going on. At that point, I can see he's got a pistol on his hip. And at that point, he motions over at this wave or whatever, and I look over at about 5
damn it.
the same type of people, the same type of outfit gets out of this black van truck thing. Now, as they get out, they all have pistols on, and they have these strapped, what looks like some type of smaller machine gun, SMG, maybe even fully automatic firearm hanging around their neck. And I mean, these guys are some type of professionals here, some type of government professionals. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and I'm very familiar with all the military outfits and uniforms. I've never seen this. So they come out, and they come up, and he goes back over and talks to her, and now my wife's coming out, and she's going, what the hell is this? What is going on? And I said, go back inside for a minute. I'm not sure yet. And I talked to the sheriff, and I said, what's going on here? I said, what is this? And he goes, they'll handle it. They know what to do. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got a lot of questions right now. I don't know who these people are. What's going to go on? Are they going on a hunt for this thing right now? That's all I can think of. They're strapped up like they're going to World War III. You know, so they come back over. He said something to him quick there. I don't know what it was. And they come back over, and he has me explain the area where they went, where I went, down into the woods. And as they start heading over that way, I see them. They have one of them has this, it looks like a satellite disc with a smaller satellite disc in the middle. The wider one's about 1.5 feet long. The other one that's inside of that one, the other cone part, is only about 5, maybe 4 inches long. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm thinking, what is that little device? Maybe a loudspeaker or something. What are they going to do? Yell for this thing in the woods? Or maybe they're going to yell to each other. I don't know. But as soon as he puts it out in front of him, I'm in the middle of a conversation that I can't even tell you what it was about at the moment now that I come back and think of it. But I was just so distracted because he points this thing out in front of him. It looks like it's got a hand grip and a trigger on it. And he hits this thing, and my dog, I've got a year-old pit bull, about 90 pounds, big girl, Maya. Very healthy, never had any problems with her. Spent a lot of time with her in and out of the woods. She's trained like you wouldn't believe. Never have any issues. I look over and I see her quizzed up in a ball, shaking like she's having a seizure. I don't know what's going on with her. She's whimpering and crying and screaming. She can't even get up. And I'm thinking, hey, whoa, what's going on here? Why is my dog doing this? And as soon as I yelled over to that, they had this thing sticking out in front of them, pointing towards the woods. They put it back down, and as soon as they put that device back down, Maya stood up. She stopped doing the seizure thing and crying, and she came right over to me and sat next to me. She was scared, nervous. I didn't know what happened. I'm sure she didn't know what happened to her. And I'm yelling over, hey, what was that? What is that thing? What are you guys doing right now? And he said, we'll be back up shortly to have a conversation with you in a minute. And I'm looking over at the sheriff, and I'm shaking my head with wide eyes like, what the f*** is going on here, man? What was this? Did you just see what this did to my dog? So they go out, and they come back a couple hours later, maybe two to 3.5 hours later. The sheriff's gone at this point. He told me basically that I was in good hands and they'll take care of it. But he never really discusses anything or reveals any information about this creature that he's familiar with or anything. It's kind of a quick hi and bye. I'm handing this off to them. Now, these got to be some type of government people because I've never seen this outfit, as I said before, and they got some type of devices and things that I'm not familiar with. It did something, some type of sound wave or some type of energy that came out of that thing that put my dog into a mess. I didn't hear it and I didn't feel it. It must be something only that animals or dogs can hear. I'm not sure. I'm speculating on that. So they come back about 2.5, 3 hours later, and they knock on the door. I see them walking back up in the cameras because originally when they had gone to leave, they jumped back in the vehicle after they pointed that thing out in the woods. They went back in the vehicle and they drove it down the dirt road. So they come back, I see them pulling back up, and I said, so what's going on here? What did we figure out, guys? And the other 4 are over in the woods. They got a couple bags with them, I see, too. So they're over near their van, and I'm talking to this guy, and I said, well, what outfit are you guys with? And he ignored my question, and he said, I got to ask you a couple questions. And I said, okay. So we ran through some things, and a couple of these questions that he asked were, did you take any pictures that day? And I said, no, it was the middle of the night pretty much. It was 8:30, 9:30 at night. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yes, I am. And he goes, okay. And before he had left, he had asked about the deer cams and things before they had went in the woods, and I told him that I got about 30 out there. And He goes, okay. So we went through a conversation of asking if I had what I had come to realize any physical proof of this creature, which he obviously didn't want me to have. And, I'm no dummy here. I could see that they were looking to see if there was any type of proof of anything, and they wanted it in their possession. Now, come to find out, they go to leave, they say that they'll talk to me, shortly. We'll make sure that we get in contact with you. As for right now, you should be all set. And I said, what does that mean, all set? I have a lot of questions here. I need to know what it is that's going on, and I need to know right now. I'm concerned about my well-being, my family's well-being, and all of my free time is spent in the woods. I can't even go back in there right now unless I know what it is that's going on. I don't know. High-powered rifles,